Hello, I'm Johnny Rowland, your host of the Shooting Show. We certainly want to welcome you to today's program, friends. I tell you what, fall finally arrived here in Louisiana this morning, and I was talking to some friends of ours up at the Kimber factory in New York, and they're having weather in the 30s. Well, heck, it's just now below 80 here. We actually had temperatures, I think, in the 50s or high 40s this morning. So for us, that is a definite change. You know, the fall means a lot to all of us who like being outdoors, all of us that enjoy our hunting skills, those that just like to get out and shoot their guns. Let me tell you what, friends, you see this old 94 Winchester, it's a great pleasure. A lot of hunters are going afield. They're going to go after their deer or some other game with some other type of gun, whether it's handgun hunting or with a shotgun or whatever else. Let me tell you what, you need to enjoy it now, because if things don't change, if we don't make some inroads, the time is very, very short, very limited, that we're going to have these guns for hunting, or have these guns for self-defense, or have guns for any purpose at all. You see, friends, we understand what this is about. And those of you who've been watching this program for a while, you've got a better handle on it than a lot of other folks around the country. We know that the New World Order, the pro-police state people, the people that want to control every aspect, every facet of our lives, they know they can never have their socialist paradise as long as free Americans are armed. They know it, we know it. And the thing is, we have to get our message to more people in this country. We certainly appreciate our Canadian viewers, we appreciate our viewers in other countries. But let me tell you what, things in Canada are really heating up as far as gun confiscation. We have a good friend and viewer who just came back from Canada, and they have legislation in the works that if you are a Canadian gun owner, in a short period of time, if you have more than one example, let's say you had 2 94 Winchesters or 2 guns of another type, well, their government just doesn't think that you need to have more than 1 gun of any type. Well, apparently they think that some of us might use them as parts in the event that they take guns away from our Canadian friends. Well, maybe they figure if you had more than 1 gun, you'd have parts for your gun so you could keep it operating. Now, friends, this is coming here. It's coming to Canada in the near future. It's coming to us who knows when. Right now, we have an individual in the White House who heads our government, President of the United States, that is very possibly a felon. Now, lying under oath to a grand jury is a felony. You realize if Bill Clinton is convicted of a felony, he can never own a gun. Of course, right now he doesn't need one because he has a police force that protects him. But think about it, friends. We're going to have to ask permission come November 30th. In the past, it was just on handguns. You had to be Brady-billed, which I think is reason enough to impeach Clinton right there. We had to be Brady-billed on handguns. But you know, the local authorities decided whether or not you could purchase a handgun, the local authorities. Coming November 30, the federal authorities and some of the folks in these agencies are already bragging it's going to cut about 20% of gun owners, because let me tell you what, friends, you go down there to purchase the old 94 Winchester you've had your eye on for a while, and let's say that you failed their computer check. All right, what's going to happen? Very, very possibly, I think we can look for it. If your name and social security number, your address is turned in, and you are denied their privilege of allowing you to buy a gun, and you're denied, well, you know, a couple of weeks later, you may have a plainclothes officer show up at your door and say, hey, Mr. Jones, you tried to buy a gun recently, didn't you? You'll say, yes, sir, I did. I was denied. Say, well, Mr. Jones, let us come in your home. We need to see what guns you may have, since you are now a prohibited person. Think about it, friends. You're going to have some of this New World Order style policing in your neighborhood soon. So many people we have talked to, so many of you have called me and said, you try and talk to others and they're in denial. So many of the boys in the hunting camps just cannot imagine. They don't want to get involved in politics and no, I don't have time to vote. Hey friends, politics to me is not fun. To me it's boring, but it's not a waste of time, because this is where we can still fight the battle. We have to. We have Senator Smith on the program again today, and I tell you what, friends, seeing and talking with someone like Senator Smith, who is 100% pro-American, 100% pro-gun, seeing him on our side and possibly him thinking about a run for the presidency, I tell you, it's very hopeful. It is heartening. Let me tell you what, friends, we as Americans have faced dark days before. We faced them in World War II. Heck, we faced dark days here in our society during Vietnam. Over the years, over the decades, we have faced dark times, and let me tell you what, we're in a dark one now. When we have people, Bill Clinton, who very possibly is going to be convicted on a felony, the man leading the government who cannot even own a gun, yet his people are going to give us, the decent citizen, permission to buy a gun. The other day somebody wrote me and said, Johnny, you get so worked up, you get so revved up here during your monologue, the opening of the program, said some people might tune in and not understand it all. Tell you what, friends, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, and moderation is what has gotten us in the mess we're in. Yes, I realize, I hope that, I got my cats all around me here, I hope that you see me as upset. I hope so, because I am. And more of you need to get upset, friends, because we're losing this battle. We are losing this battle. Thanks to organizations like the the National Rifle Association, the NRA-C, it's compromise that has gotten us in this mess. Right now, today, had a call from a listener in Colorado, and, excuse me, he said that in New Jersey now, a couple of the politicians up there are working toward requiring a personalized firearm. Now wait a minute, personalized? That doesn't mean your name on it, friends. That means having a gun that will only work if it's in your hand. Now wait a minute, there's several ways to do that. The most practical way would be to have a computer chip that you had maybe on your hand somewhere, maybe even embedded in your skin, who knows, maybe in your trigger finger, that would activate that gun. And I'm sorry to say, we understand that Colt Firearms is working with them on this, and I don't know what's happened up there. I'm hoping, I tell you, if you have a question, why don't you give them a call, just call Colt Firearms and say, hey, what are you people doing? What's the deal on what? Can't you understand that we're trying to be reasonable with people who cannot be reasoned with? You think Bill Clinton's reasonable? You think Janet Reno is reasonable? You think some of these, when Wayne LaPierre called the people that broke in at Waco that assaulted those people, jackbooted thugs, hey, what do you call them? If they show up in ninja suits and masks, and they have on high boots, and they're killing women and children, what do you call them? If it's not jackbooted thugs, what do you call them? That's what we've got, unfortunately, that is going to be giving us permission to buy guns. Yeah, for the first time in American history, I tell you what, November 30th is going to be a dark day for us as gun owners, friends. ATF, and there are some decent officers and ATF people who are just trying to do their job. Some of them have been punished for trying to be reasonable with other gun owners. Some of the ATF officers are gun owners, gun enthusiasts, even some of them. But unfortunately, the leadership that we're seeing in Washington is anti-gun. The State Department has already issued papers saying they don't believe the individual has a right to own a gun in the United States. Let me tell you what, friends, when these are taken away, whatever goes bang is taken away from us, the American citizens, they got us then. What you gonna do? You gonna take your little sign and go down to the courthouse, go down to the State House building and have your little sign say, we want our rights back. What the heck is that gonna do toward establishing rights for citizens when we've got a Constitution, we've got a Bill of Rights? What in the world is it going to do? Take your little sign down there. What did it do to those people in Tiananmen Square when they had tanks and troops that shot down those people? What good did it do them to take their little sign down there and say, we want freedom, we want our... friends, it's not going to work. And that's what this is about. If it weren't so serious, and yes, I hope I appear upset, because I am. We're losing our freedom, friends. We're losing it right here in the United States of America, and we don't have to. We don't have to. Yet this is what's happening now. It is moderation. It is compromise, like the NRA-C in Washington, D.C., the dictatorship that's going on up there now, okay? It's compromise that has gotten us in the mess we're in. You say, Johnny, don't get on the NRA. Hey, who needs people like handgun controller enemies when the NRA helped write the Brady Bill, when they helped write it, when they were in favor of the national so-called instant check? In November, ATF's already saying they're not going to have their computer program online to take the calls on this so-called instant check. They're saying their computer program is probably not going to be working November 30th. They've already admitted they don't have enough employees to answer the phone. So just where is this so-called instant check? Now let's go one step further. A lot of us have been talking about Y2K, the possible computer breakdown in the year 2000. Think about it. If we do get past this November 31st of December and we can still buy guns, what's going to happen? You know, the government computers are the last ones to be fixed. And guess what, friends? Since we're going to have to go through a bank of like 4 different computer checks handled by the United States government, what do you think the odds are on Y2K shutting the computers down? Maybe we won't be able to buy guns for months. Who knows how long it'll take them to get it fixed? And then what if their computer records are wrong, and you and I as Americans have just been cut off from our Second Amendment rights? It's not a privilege, it's a right. And we have these people who want to disarm us, who want their one world socialist paradise, and this fits right in their plan. But what do you think? Our only chance, friends, our only chance is to reach more Americans with the truth. You know, we've had some harassment here on our show from people around, some anti-gun people, very few, but you know, we've had threats, we've had all kinds of things happen, because why are they so afraid of what we're saying? Why would the anti-gun people be so afraid that our message is going out on television and radio and the internet? Why would they be so afraid? One reason and one reason only. They're afraid of the truth. They don't mind pornography going out. They don't mind their socialist goals 2000s claptrap being taught in schools, dumbing down our younger population. They don't mind that. In fact, locally, going along with that, a local junior high school, they had a ceremony this week where the students signed a paper saying they would never handle guns. They would never partake in violence. Well, you know, I don't think that kids ought to settle their disagreements with guns anyway, yes, but they're brainwashing these students, telling them that guns are bad instruments, so we'll never pick up a gun. We'll never learn to handle. Let me tell you what, friends. If our younger people aren't taught to properly handle guns, not only would they not be able to use them in violence, they wouldn't be able to use them in self-defense either. And it's coming, friends. The people who want to control us do not want these guns in our hands, whether it's a 94 Winchester or a 44 Magnum revolver or a 1911, whatever. Because there are so many instances you can go back to in history and show where a group, even sometimes a small group of armed people, were able to defend themselves against an attacker or an onslaught from a foreign government or something outrageous happening in their own community. Example after example after example. 50,000 times a week, guns are used to stop crimes by civilians around this country, not in the hands of police, in the hands of civilians. 50,000 times a week. The normal citizen, not the police officer, uses his or her gun, usually without being fired or without having to fire it, to stop crime right here in the United States. And these people don't think that we're trustworthy to own firearms. They only want them in the hands of police that take orders, or United Nations troops, or even U.S. government troops that take orders, whether they agree with them or not. That's who they want to be armed. And let me tell you what, friends, if you want to do something about it, you can help. You darn sure can. Let me read our mission statement on our Gun Owner Rights Association. It's got to be done, friends. Will you stand with us? Will you please help us? It's very difficult to remain on television. It is very expensive. It's very hard. Will you please help us? Let me read our mission statement on our Gun Owner Rights Association. 1, we want to reach more Americans through TV and various other broadcast means with the truth about firearms ownership and responsibility. We want to motivate and activate more individuals at the local level to become involved in our cause. We want to educate more women and young people about guns and gun ownership. We want to broadcast truthful information about gun issues and legislation. We want to influence political campaigns through our organization by supporting honorable candidates who believe in our United States Constitution and the Bill of Rights. And we want to pass on our great American heritage to future generations. Now that's what we want to do. If you want to join us here at the shooting show with our Gun Owner Rights Association, you can by sending $50, and we'll send you a membership card, and you'll start getting our newsletter. Between 15 and 20 of that $50 goes to cover our expense on the newsletter. That gives us $30 or a couple of more dollars there to use toward helping us stay on the air. If you don't want to join our Gun Owner Rights Association, will you please make a donation? You can join our support group and help sponsor our show. Or you can make a donation to the shooting show, 327 Irvin Rowland Road in Duberly, Louisiana. The zip code is 71024. If you want to call us, our phone number, 318-377-5189. Friends, it is absolutely essential. And those folks out there, a lot of people watch our program, don't contribute 10 cents. We're glad you watch, because then you can repeat our information to somebody else. But let me tell you what, friends, if we go off the air and we can't continue bringing you this information, this is the only place on television you get this information. All those folks out there that agree with us but decided not to get involved, you can pat yourselves on the back and say, yeah, well, I sure like what Johnny was trying to do, and all the folks there that are supporting the project, they're making a good effort, you know, but I don't want to get involved. You can thank yourselves when the police come to your home and say, hey, Mr. Jones or Mr. Smith or whoever, let's see if you got any guns hidden away here. You know, you're a prohibited person now, and who knows, Clinton could pass an executive order, just write one out that would prohibit all of us from owning guns. He could do it. And when they come to your home, you can say, golly, I wonder what happened. But you will have had the answer long ago. Well, friends, I'm sorry we have to talk about it. We have to. It's got to be said. If we're going to have a United States of America left, we got to talk about it now. We have to. Will you please help us? Will you please help us? We have a great show for you today. Friends, we're going back to the Wild Ranch. We have our good friend J.D. Jones as doing some phenomenal shooting on our program. I think we have Steve Comas again, editor of Gun World magazine, that's going to be doing some shooting. Have some really great features. We're so glad that you are here with us, because this means if you're seeing us on television today, it means we're still on. So we do have a great program. Let's begin today's show with this Model 94 3030, and heck, right now time's very limited. We can own these guns at all, so let's have some fun shooting them while we still have them. Let's do that. Have some water bottles down here at 100 yards. A lot of people are going to be going after their deer with 30-30. Let's just try a couple of things. You know, friends, the old 30-30 is really a very fine, it may be as good a police weapon as it is a hunting gun. Have our water bottles out here at 100 yards. Just see if we can kind of offhand that water bottle over on your left there. And friends, that wasn't too hard with our 94 Winchester. Well, let's take a long barrel hunting handgun like this Ruger Super Red Hawk, see what happens. Well, admittedly, that wasn't too hard, but hey friends, it's only 100 yards. Let's just take our Shooting Show Kimber, have one more water bottle here. Like I said, since it's only 100 yards, it's 45 automatic from Kimber, I think it ought to be up to the task. Piece of cake. These great Kimbers are absolutely, I wouldn't try that with many other 1911s, certainly no factory stock 1911. And maybe I might come out with a box or two of shells and a whole lot of tape, but these Kimbers are absolutely phenomenal guns. Let's go on with another shooting show.
Stay tuned for more of the Shootin' Show after these important messages.
The Shootin' Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or TV station.
With one of these great Kimber, this is our Shooting Show model, full size, the Johnny Rowlands signature model. Well, you can make those hits out there with a mirror at 100 yards, and when you can make consistent hits on targets out at 200 yards, well, just imagine how easy it would be at 25 yards. Or at defense range. If you'd like to have one of our Shooting Show Kimbers, be it compact or the full-size model, or if you just want the best 1911 that money can buy at a very good price, the best factory production 1911 semi-automatic pistol ever built by any factory, give us a call here at the program, 318-377-5189, or you can write to us, send an FFL, we can wholesale these guns. Send an FFL to the Shooting Show, 327 Irvin Rowland Road in Doberly, Louisiana. The zip code is 71024.
And remember, friends, Christmas is coming up in a couple of months, and you can get the 22 conversion unit. You don't have to have an FFL to order this. You can order that direct from us. It's only $2.99 to turn your regular 1911 or your great 1911 Kimmer into a 22 caliber, 22 long rifle, semi-automatic pistol. Friends, let me tell you what, these are such great guns, and these are some of the nicest people we have ever met in this business. So even if you don't buy a Kimber from us, please look at them first, because it's the best there is. And now, friends, we're going to go back to the YO Ranch in southwest Texas, out there at Mountain Home, Texas. Actually, you're looking at some of the exotic game they have in the intensive care units there up close to the ranch headquarters. But we're going to visit with J.D. Jones and do some shooting. J.D. is going to show you some of his guns and part of the discipline that he had going in his particular section of the match. I think you're really going to enjoy it.
J.D., what sort? This looks like some kind of AR-15. What kind of gun is this?
Well, this is a AR-15 equipped with a Colt M4 upper, which is the latest version that the U.S. forces are using. You'll notice the cut in the barrel ahead of the front sight, and that's there to mount a 40-millimeter grenade launcher. I don't remember the exact designation, but what we do, they carry handle AR-15s because dot sights are hot and they're good. We take a standard AR-15 and we cut the carry handle off here, cut it off here. We make a scope mount or a dot sight mount that we affix to the top of the receiver and put a dot sight on it. For quick shooting, this dot is quite large, but it has 4 adjustments in it. The way you use it is both eyes open, look over the top of the rear sight, and you put the dot on your target, pull the trigger, you've got it. Okay, for more precise shooting, you reduce the size of the dot. The dot at its smallest setting, if you sight in an inch or so high above the top of the dot at 100 yards, you have essentially a point-blank range between 300 and 400, depending on the ammunition you use, because that's when the bullet falls out of the bottom of the dot.
Right.
It's always behind the dot, out to 400. Okay, let's say your battery goes down, a horse steps on it, or something of that nature happens. You simply don't turn the dot sight on, but you use the factory peep sights through the dot. And you can sight in at the same distance as you do with the dot, or a different distance. But you're always ready to go with the iron sights right through the dot. Unlike the military version, where you have to take the sight off of the gun and replace it with something else, this one does the whole trick, and it's right there. Money-wise, this whole setup installed on an AR-15 is $285 with a 1-dot sight. I don't remember the price for the 4-dot, but for $285 installed, it's a heck of a good way to go.
Well, J.D., you offer this service. You do a number of different things. We're going to take a look at a couple of your guns here that you work on, but you offer this through your shop, SSK Industries, am I correct?
Correct, yeah.
Why don't you give us your phone number up there?
740-264-0176. Almost messed that up. They changed the area code on us.
But if you have a flyer, catalog, or something you can send folks, or they just need to talk to you about custom work.
Right, just custom work, basically. Okay. But we do have a flyer, and we're making up a new catalog, which should be ready in a couple of months.
Well, let's take a look through the back of this gun. We'll show just what you're talking about so the folks can see it. Friends, you'll see the red dot here. Of course, we're standing behind the gun. And, of course, you can put the dot over your sight there, like so. And, of course, wherever the dot is where the bullet's going to go, or certainly you can use your sights with looking through the rear aperture, which is kind of a trick shot here, but I hope you can see it to demonstrate just how neat this system is. And just for fun, friends, here we compare a 9mm to the 50 Browning. The 9 doesn't fare too well in this comparison. Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking with J.D. Jones about his portion of the match here. And J.D., you have an extensive setup here. What are you going to start people off with?
Well, this is called the Winchester Challenge, and the reason it's called the Winchester Challenge is because Winchester supplies all the ammunition for it. The Entry fee is $50 a person. It's 100% payback, plus a trophy, and plus a rifle. So that's going to make it worthwhile. It's going to be about maybe $2,000 worth of prizes this time. Okay, first we're going to start off with an SSK match-grade barreled, suppressed or silenced 22 long rifle. This is a converted Ruger. It has a 2 to 6 Bushnell scope on it, and it's sighted in dead on for 25 yards. Now, the individual has to shoot offhand at 6-inch discs at 28 yards and at 56 yards. The short ones count 3 points, the long ones count 6 points.
Now, JD, just for folks who don't understand what a suppressor really does, people have seen them in the movies and on TV, which is erroneous, they're shooting blanks anyway. Why don't you demonstrate your suppressed Ruger 22 long rifle there, sir?
Okay, we'll try and set something up so you can hear the shot and also the bullet impact. This is a standard Ruger 22, which we put a match-grade barrel in, a long suppressor. We don't need a suppressor anywhere near that long, but since we're going to shoot about 3,000 rounds through it, and there won't be an opportunity to clean it, we want a long suppressor. Okay.
Great.
Now on target. That's a steel target at about 20 yards being hit. Most of the noise that you hear is that of the action working itself. In a bolt action or a single shot like a contender, it's considerably quieter.
Well, now,
Just
JD,
listen to the action close itself.
well, a lot of people don't realize that in America we can still own suppressors. Am I correct?
In many states, yes. In some states they're outlawed, but generally speaking, there's a $200 federal tax on it. If you're not a convicted felon, you can get one.
Stay tuned for more of the Shootin' Show after these important messages.
The Shootin' Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or TV station.
Friends, here it is. This is the great Georgia Arms 45 DA Colt or double action Colt cartridge. This is the first major improvement on the Colt 45 since 1873. They have this in loaded cowboy ammunition. They're also selling brass, so you can load your own combinations. This cartridge case is absolutely a joy to work with. We're even seeing improved accuracy, we think due to the slightly larger rim on our 45 DA Colt case. You can get a free catalog, or you can order these from Georgia Arms, 1-800-624-6861 for their entire lineup, and please tell them you saw it here on our show. Now, friends, of course, the cowboy load is mild but super accurate. And of course, you can take your hand loads up to the limit of what the loading manuals will allow. The great 45 double action Colt cartridge from Georgia Arms. Give them a call today, friends. A free phone call with a free catalog.
And we want to remind you that the entire lineup of Georgia Arms ammunition, whether it's for your handgun or for your rifle, has been the most consistent, most accurate, best performing across the line group of cartridges we have ever seen. Friends, whether you have a 454 Casull or a 357 SIG or a 7mm Remington Magnum or a 300 Winchester or a 30-06, whatever, give them a call at 1-800-624-6861. Free phone call and get a free catalog. Trust me, friends, this is a move you need to make.
Well, Johnny, I'm sure you heard of Bob Munden. Bob is pure magic when it comes to single actions, both in shooting and in working on them. These are a pair of Bob's personal single action Colt cowboy race guns. They are so smooth, it's unbelievable. The triggers are way too light for me, but this is what you need for top-notch competition. Again, this time we're shooting Winchester 45 Colt 255 grain lead ammo. In the contest, the individual will shoot one gun left-handed at the target at 28 yards, or at 18 yards rather. The front side of the target counts 3 points. The idea is to spin the target, show the backside, and hit the backside, which is worth 6 points. After he fires that, he picks up the other gun, does the same thing on the other target. This is all under time, by the way. He then picks up a Navy Arms lever action 45 Colt, and we double the distance. And we have the same 12-inch steel targets, same deal, 3 shots or 3 points for a hit on the front side, 6 points for a hit on the back side. This is a new item for Navy. Shoots very well. This is one of my older personal guns. This is a, right now, quite wet Browning 1886 Winchester replica. It was new in the box until we needed one for this contest. And here again, we're using the Winchester Supreme ammo. And again, we're doubling the distance for 12-inch plates. Same drill. 3 points for a hit on the front side, 6 points for a hit on the back side. On the last shot, the time ends. That's the entire conglomeration of 3 guns will be the time for the cowboy end of the shoot. Johnny, we're going to shoot this 308 Encore at 530 yards on 12-inch steel plates.
Now wait a minute, JD. You're telling people that you can take a handgun and hit a 12-inch target at over 500 yards.
Pretty doggone consistently, yeah.
Well, I'm being facetious. Yes, I watched you and even did it once myself, but our friend Steve Comas, who's one of the best long-range shots I've ever witnessed, hit it 6 times, I think, in a row yesterday. 535 yards. Now, this is not a regular out-of-the-box contender, JD. This is one of your guns, right?
Right. Well, this is a Thompson Center Encore frame, a stainless match-grade Shilling barrel, and a Rester muzzle brake, TSOB mount with 3 rings, and this scope happens to be a 2.5 to 7 Simmons gold medal.
Great.
Okay, the 50, again, is my personal gun. This is an AMAC. It's not in production anymore. It's sort of unusual in that it has what's called a shell holder bolt face. This bolt face is just like the shell holder on your reloading press. You put the round into it, insert it in the gun, close the bolt, and you're ready to go.
What does this gun weigh, JD, this AMAC?
With scope and everything, about 32, 34 pounds.
And in shooting it, I notice it doesn't have it's more a push due to certainly this muzzle brake. Apparently, is that one of the reasons it doesn't have the recoil, is because of this muzzle brake?
Yeah, the original muzzle brake on it did a good job of reducing recoil, but last year we had a couple of people who thought the recoil was sort of excessive, so we put together a clamshell muzzle brake, which is ugly as sin, but very, very effective. I think probably recoil is on the order of that of a 20-gauge shotgun. But the ammunition we're shooting is armor-piercing incendiary. It'll flash and give a puff of smoke when it strikes anything hard. We're going to shoot it at steel plates at 530 yards. I will demonstrate it in a couple of minutes, but it's a fun gun to shoot, and the whole purpose of this exercise is to have fun. This submachine gun is a Swedish K. It's a 9mm. We're going to load the magazines with 35 rounds. And we have two targets out there about 35 yards. Again, the same 12-inch steel swingers. 3 shots or 3 points for a hit on the front side, 6 points for a hit on the back side. Again, all of this is against time. See what I mean?
Friends, this is a 9mm. This is a true submachine gun. Friends, some people say you can't hit anything with a sub gun, but not everyone's J.D. Jones. Okay, J.D., go. Now, friends, Steve Comas is going to take a shot out at 535 yards with this SSK Thompson Center Encore in 308. And I saw Steve hit 6 times in a row yesterday, and we're going to see if we can see him repeat that today, at least on one shot. Okay, Steve, go ahead, sir.
There you go.
Got it. Got it.
I just had to get that sight picture.
Great shot. Great shot.
Want to do it again?
It is still spinning. Now, wait a minute, Steve. Don't show off now.
Huh?
I mean, it's spinning. Don't hit the back side of it. There's no need in
now
that.
I got my sight picture.
Friends, a phenomenal shot with a handgun.
Pretty good when you hit.
Got it.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah,
shooting,
that
Steve.
sight picture, you got to do a really fine hair. You need any more footage?
That's good. I'll tell you what, Steve, that's impressive.
I can hit it again if you want to.
Well, I don't doubt that, sir. Friends, that is a long, long way out there. Just look how far we're backing out. My goodness. With a handgun. JD, you're obviously going to load the gun. What are you going to shoot out there, and what are you shooting?
Well, we're shooting armor-piercing incendiary tracer, and we're shooting at steel plates about 15 inches square.
At what distance?
530 yards.
Okay.
Okay, there's a yellow plate at the upright. The next one, then I'll shoot at the next one. That looks the cleanest.
You got it. If you'd repeat that.
Stay tuned for more of the Shootin' Show after these important messages.
The Shootin' Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or TV station. Now, friends, here it is. This is the great 1919 Browning converted to semi-automatic from the good people at NWI. This is your chance to own a real piece of history. They're very collectible. They're also a lot of fun to own and shoot, and very reasonably priced, certainly for what you get. The 1919 Browning is from NWI. That phone number, area 503-429-5001. They also have the ammunition special still going on. 30-06 ammunition, only 18 cents a round, surplus in the belt. So give them a call today, NWI, for the great 1919 Browning conversion. Also remember, they have the A6 conversion with the shoulder stock and the bipod. But these are tremendous pieces of history, also great shooters. So give them a call today, the 1919 Browning from NWI, area 503-429-5001. And friends, we will remind you that Tim has a few of the 50 Browning versions, the converted machine guns to semi-automatic, a few 50 Brownings, this great cartridge and gun combination. Give them a call out there, area 503-429-5001, and please don't forget to tell them you saw it here on our show. And now, friends, we're going to go back and review some more of our interview with Senator Bob Smith from the state of New Hampshire. Here's a politician that actually feels so much on so many issues like we as shooters and gun owners do. I think this is really important. Let's watch this now. What part of shall not be infringed is unclear?
There's nothing in there that I can see that's unclear. I'm always amazed at as I said tonight in my speech, about people who go back and read the Constitution and then they interpret what the founders said. You know, sometimes the founders wrote it just every time, as far as I can see, the founders said it and wrote it about as clearly as you could. The right to bear arms shall not be infringed, period. I mean, so that means no registration, no FBI files. You know, you have the right to own a gun. And you know, people, there was a reason for that, Johnny. There was a reason for that. The founders wanted to be sure that they did not have to fear a tyrannical government, and that you always should have the right to join that militia for your state. And you know, a lot of people said, oh, it was only for the militia. It wasn't for the ordinary guy. Well, how do you think the ordinary guy entered the militia? He brought his weapon.
Well, the National Guard didn't exist.
Exactly, but they brought their weapons, and they joined the militia with their weapon. They'd pick up the squirrel gun or whatever it was off the farm, and they'd go right out to the militia. So there's no question about what the founders meant with the Second Amendment.
Well, it's a sad day when our own government is afraid of the citizen being armed. Now that is very bothersome to us. For the first time since our country's inception, we're going to have to ask permission to buy a gun of any type here in the United States.
Yeah, it's an outrage, and it's clearly in violation of the Constitution. And you know, to treat you or me, an honest citizen, the same way you would treat a felon. You know,
we'll be an IRS, Senator Smith. We're having to prove we're innocent.
That's right.
I think weren't we supposed to be
until we're proven innocent with the IRS? You know, and that's just the reverse.
Innocent until proven. Yes, something's wrong. We have to prove we're innocent enough to buy a gun.
But Johnny, you know, I'll tell you something. We have let this slip away, and I know the people out there that are watching this program right now and listening to us. They're the right people. They don't need to hear the message, unfortunately, but they need to get that message out that we cannot let these freedoms slip away. If we lose the right to bear arms and we lose these basic rights and freedoms that are being taken away from us, such as our sovereignty in America today, and it's happening. If we allow this to happen, then we have let the founding fathers down. We have deserted their principles, and I'm not going to stand by and let that happen.
Well, friends, let's touch on a couple of things because time is short this evening, but let me just touch on a couple of quick things here, Senator Smith. What about the Clintonians trying to give away the naval base at Long Beach to the Chinese communists?
You know, Johnny, I shipped out of Long Beach, went to Vietnam, out of Long Beach Naval Shipyard in 1966 to the Vietnam War. It was a great base. It was very much a part of our national security. And to think that President Bill Clinton is willing to sell the military equipment on that base to the communist Chinese and lease the shipyard to the Chinese communists. What is going on in America? And I know that Senator Jim Inhofe and myself Senator Jim Inhofe of Oklahoma and myself, we're trying to stop it, and I hope we can succeed. But isn't it sickening that we have to have two senators try to stop this?
It's amazing. What about, you said something earlier that is very important to our audience, our issues of national sovereignty, which we see we're losing through the United Nations. What in the world?
You know, this president, and it's not just Bill Clinton, but it's been going on for a while, but this president has decided that he can call up your son or mine and put him under the UN command. And I tell your listeners, point blank, no American soldier should serve under any officer other than the United States of America. It better say USA on his hat or on his arm, not the UN. We don't owe anybody, we don't owe the UN anything. And so it's the UN, it's the usurping of our rights through the UN. It's these international trade agreements, NAFTA, GATT. They're sucking away American jobs, and they're just and frankly American sovereignty. And that's a real problem that I can't believe the American people still haven't come to grips with. And we talk about fast track. To give this president fast track on trade, the only fast track I want to give Bill Clinton is a railroad straight back to Arkansas quickly.
Well, sir, I think you have certainly said things awfully well. We were so impressed. And, of course, this first time you and I have met face-to-face. We've had a great conversation on our radio show.
That's right.
And I know that people are going to enjoy meeting you and seeing you for the person that you really are. And
well, you know, I'm what you see is what you get. I'm a down-to-earth guy. I quote often from country music songs. I like Mark Twain. You know, I'm just a down-to-earth person. I'm a family man first. I'm a teacher, a baseball coach. I'm not a lawyer. I didn't come from wealth. I worked hard. The first political coffee I ever went to when I ran for Congress had 3 people there, myself and the host and hostess. And, you know, I've worked hard for everything I've gotten. My dad died at the end of the Second World War. I was only 3 years old. It's actually 2 days before my 4th birthday. I had my little brother. He was only a year old. My mom was left a widow. But, you know, we were taught values, Johnny. My mother told us, and they're both buried at Arlington right now, and I'm very proud of that. My mother told me, your dad died for a reason. He died preserving the freedom that we all love so much and prize so much in this country, and it's not free. You know, many people have died for that. And my mom just never remarried. She always liked to say she was a one-man woman, and she was. And you know, but that's the kind of things, the values that were put inside of me from my mom, from my dad, from my grandparents: patriotism, character, work hard for what you get, accept responsibility.
Got a question for you, Senator Smith. Are these fine folks, these fine liberal socialists in Washington, are they going to just be real nice, and if we get someone up there, are they just going to back down and say, well, you can have it back, and we were sorry we offended you? Are they going to leave town and wish us well?
Yeah, I wish that were the case, but you and I know better than that. Look, the liberals have fought for 50 years to get control, and they're not going to give it up. We've got to take it away from them, and we can take it away from them because we're right. You know, as I said in my remarks, you know, the founders came here on the Mayflower. They believed in God. They founded this nation, and they believed in principles, and they believed in God.
That's all they had was principles. That's all they had. They'd have money.
There are 3 navigational charts that we need to follow to keep this country strong and great. One is the Constitution, of course. One is the Declaration of Independence, which talks about our great freedoms, the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And the third is the Bible. And there's nothing wrong with any of those documents. What happens is people, leaders, go wrong. They don't follow those documents properly. They go off track, and so we get off course. And so, you know, in this life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, Johnny, if you can't live, you can't be free. If you're denied the right to life, then you are denied the right to have freedom. You're denied the right to be happy, and you know it's very simple. Let's follow the Constitution, follow the Declaration, follow our founders. They were pretty smart guys. They knew what they were doing. It's something. But I'll tell you one thing, Johnny. I've met a lot of people, a lot of good patriotic Americans, and I know one thing. If we were back now in 1776, you'd be standing right there with Patrick Henry and Nathan Hale and Thomas Jefferson. You'd have been signing that Declaration of Independence. I know you'd have been right at Lexington and Concord.
I appreciate
You'd have picked up that piece, and I know that, man, and I'm proud of you.
I appreciate that. In
You're doing
fact,
a great job.
we have started a new Gun Owner Rights Association,
Right.
and we'd like to make you an honorary life member, sir.
I'll tell you, I'm proud of that. Yeah, absolutely. I
Well, we
accept it
appreciate
right
that.
now.
We appreciate that. And friends, if you'd like to communicate with Senator Smith, you've got his address. And I tell you, we have an opportunity. It's going to be up to us. Those of us, like you said earlier, do what we can. We don't have to go down and mortgage the home, whatever.
That's
Just
right.
like when you support our program. Just do what you can.
That's right. I mean,
Like every brick in the wall.
$20. I mean, what's that? A couple of stops at McDonald's? You know?
Unfortunately.
This is Senator Bob Smith of the Live Free or Die state of New Hampshire. I'd like you to join me in an effort to restore America's values, America's freedoms, to really make the Declaration of Independence mean what it says: respect for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. If you'd like to help me preserve this nation for our children, for our posterity, I invite you to join me in this endeavor. Please drop me a note at P.O. Box 77414, Washington, D.C. 20013, in care of the Live Free or Die Political Action Committee. Thank you very much.
Friends, we want to extend our thanks to Senator Bob Smith of New Hampshire for giving us an interview and being on our program, and certainly for accepting a membership in our Gun Owner Rights Association. He is someone who definitely is on our side, and I think it's important that we meet some of these potential candidates. And right now he is making a decision on whether or not to run for President of the United States. If you would like to get involved with Senator Smith's organization, you can write to them, Live Free or Die Political Action Committee, Post Office Box 77414 in Washington, D.C. That zip code is 20013. And let's go to our support group, the folks that help us stay on the air. We have our good friend Dennis Crocker, who is a firearms trainer in South Carolina, authorized to go throughout the state. His number is area 864-587-8722. And we have a custom leatherwork and saddlery, Dennis and Jeannie Ritchie down in Denham Springs, Louisiana. They do all kinds of leather work. Their number is area 504-667-9225. And Camouflage Technologies, they paint gun stocks in a remarkable manner there. You can call them at area 909-674-6488. And of course our friends at Clark Custom Guns, all kinds of custom work on revolvers and semi-automatic pistols, area 318-949-9884. And for artwork on the internet, you have Flying Horse Galleries. You can find them at www.flyinghorse.net. And our friend Bruce Warren, who is a very fine gunsmith in East Leroy, Michigan. He works on pistols and revolvers. His number is area 616-729-5508. And Steadcraft, they're a custom machine shop. They're in Torrington, Connecticut. They do all kinds of specialty things there in machine craft. Their number is area 860-496-7001. Friends, we want to thank all of you for being here with us today for our program. We have some other things from the YO, the results of the competition we'll get to on the next program. If you can help us stay on the air, or if you can join our Gun Owner Rights Association, friends, it has to be done. It must be done. Please send whatever you can to the Shooting Show, 327 Irvin Rowland Road in Dubberly, Louisiana. That zip code is 71024. Friends, we run out of time on today's program. Remember our radio show on the American Freedom Network and our gospel show on Sunday morning. We'll look forward to seeing you on